Good evening, I'm Richard Rellis in for Jose Cardenas. A new report says states could do a better job of placing children in foster care with families. We'll talk about the report on foster care needs here in Arizona and the needs for healthcare professionals in rural communities. Plus, an organization helping veterans coming back from combat. All this coming up next on Horizonte.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station.
Thank you for joining us. According to a new policy report from the group Kids Count, 14% of children removed from their homes in Arizona are living in what are called congregate care settings. That means group homes, emergency shelters, and treatment facilities. Joining me to talk about foster care needs in Arizona is Doug Nick, Director of Communications for the Arizona Department of Child Safety, the newly named Arizona Department of Child Safety.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
What was the reaction when, Kids Count comes out and Arizona sometimes gets beat up a little bit. This seemed to have some glimmers of light, but what was your reaction when you saw these numbers? Are they surprising to the state?
You know, we have meetings several times during the week where we actually discuss the numbers of this kind. So the numbers were not, frankly, a surprise, and we don't really entirely disagree, or if at all, with this report. There is certainly a very significant situation regarding foster care in this state, and this is May, it's Foster Awareness Month, so we are always trying very assiduously, very aggressively to recruit more people into being foster parents. We really need more foster parents in the state, and this report underscores that.
What are the challenges of having children in a group home setting, or in a setting that's not a family home?
Clearly, the best situation for any child is to be in a healthy family situation. And in those unfortunate situations where a removal is needed because the child is in an unsafe situation, we want to get them to a safe situation. So certainly congregate care, in the sense that it's getting children out of an unsafe home environment, is a good thing, but it's certainly not ideal by any means. And our real mission here is to ensure that we get a good foster placement, we increase the numbers of adoptions, and get these children into permanency, if not reunification with their own family, certainly a permanent forever home where they're loved, they're cared for, where they can thrive.
During the crisis months, we were hearing tales of children living in the offices. Are those days behind?
We actually have some good news on that, because last week we announced that through a partnership with Child Help, we are able to shortly retrofit some office space for actual sleeping purposes. We're getting donated cribs, donated beds, other materials, and things like that. And if you're interested in donating, childhelp.org is the organization for that. That's not going to entirely eliminate that very unfortunate problem of children sleeping in offices. Again, it's hardly ideal, but it's certainly better than being in an unsafe situation where their lives and well-being may be threatened. But when this comes online, this new facility here that we're going to partner with Child Help, hopefully in about a week or so, that will mitigate part of that problem. It'll be for children 10 and under. So, and we are constantly looking for ways to do more partnerships like that, because certainly having kids in offices is nowhere near the standard we would want to have.
Yeah, that was never the plan, but now it seems like now you're ready to, if we hit a crisis mode again, there's a better situation.
Correct.
What are some of the barriers as you try to recruit families to become foster families? What are the barriers? What are people worried about? What should they know?
I think if families haven't been a part of that before, and by the way, the foster families that we have are really doing incredible work. They're not getting nearly enough recognition. We're working to change that. In fact, in our payments to the families, we're starting to send out notes of appreciation and thanking them for the work that they do. Nobody's getting wealthy off of this. It's a very small amount of money. People are doing it out of love and a desire to help children. So we really do appreciate that. And that's a message that we're trying to put forth even more under Director Greg McKay. But the barriers, I think, there's a certain amount of mystery. Oh, could I possibly do this? Is it going to be so much work? And I think the rewarding part of it is, as any parent in a loving home can tell you, being a parent to these wonderful children has its own rewards, and it really takes a special person to do that. But that's the good news, is there are a lot of special people in Arizona, a lot of untapped people in Arizona with that special something. And if they're interested, they can go, there's some phone numbers they can call, there's some websites they can go to at our own website. There's Kids Need You, which is a 1-877 number, Kids Need You, and there are other resources.
Oh, so that's 1-877 Kids Need You?
1-877 Kids Need You, the letter U. And by the way, that's a bilingual site, that phone line too, because we do have a need at all levels of demographics and ethnicities and so forth. It's a very important situation.
Is there a need for specifically Latinos, Native Americans? Where is that breakdown now?
Well, we have, of the 17,000 kids in out-of-home care, about 36% of them are identified as Hispanic, and another 8% are identified as Native American. Now, federal law prohibits this department, or every department, from matching fosters or placements based on race or ethnicity. And that goes back many years ago, because you don't want to look at it that way. A child is a child, and they need to be in a safe environment. So. But having said that, there is a need, of course, at all levels of the cultural spectrum for people to be foster parents, and throughout every part of the state of Arizona, especially in some of the rural areas where it is a little bit tougher.
Do you have percentage breakdowns of how many foster families are Latino or Native American?
We may have that. I don't have that off the top of my head right now, but since we cannot match based on ethnicity, the most important thing is that a child is placed in a safe and loving home, and we actually do encourage, a multicultural viewpoint in that regard.
Yeah, and I see the idea that government doesn't want to consider that, but I guess there's something that says if a child's going to be pulled out of a home and disrupted, if they go into a home where, if they're used to eating tortillas, there's tortillas. There's some sense of continuity that might help, even if it can't be considered officially.
Obviously, we're very sensitive to the cultural implications. And when it comes to Native Americans, there actually is an older federal law called the Indian Child Welfare Act that goes back, I believe, 1974. And you have to make every attempt you can to ensure the cultural integrity of the child. Now, obviously, the first thing is to make sure if a child is in a dangerous situation, get that child in a safe place, regardless of the ethnicity, of course. But the Indian Child Welfare Act actually does have some very complicated metrics in it, but it does make every attempt to ensure that the child is placed in a culture that matches or closely approximates their heritage. Of course, it does get very complicated and difficult with all the tribal issues and so forth, and the bloodlines and all the federal registry and so forth. But in fact, the Arizona DCS is one of only a handful of states that has an office dedicated to that very task.
And I guess that part of the mystery of who these kids are, I think that might keep people from getting into this program, and just finding out more information might be the only thing finding out information might get people to just sign up. Where do they go if someone wants to find out more?
There's Kids Need You, again the letter u.gov. You can email us at fosteradoption@azdes.gov, and it is DES. We're the DCS, but we're still using some of the old servers. That's an IT issue. So that's fosteradoption@azdes.gov, kidsneedyou.gov, as I said. There's also children'sheartgallery.org, which is not run by us necessarily, but we link to that. We have many great partners. I would encourage everybody in Arizona to take a look at this, to search your heart, to thoughtfully, prayerfully consider whether or not this is something for you, because it is really a richly enriching experience that is very rewarding. And I think most foster parents would tell you that they've been blessed in ways that they couldn't have imagined once they took on this important role.
Excellent. Doug Nick, thanks for joining us on this important topic.
Thank you.
The University of Arizona College of Medicine's Rural Health Professions program continues to expand. Here to talk about the need for healthcare professionals in rural communities is Dr. Jonathan Cartsonis, Director of the U of A College of Medicine's Rural Health Professions program. Thanks for joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
So describe the need for us. How dire is the situation in the rural communities?
Well, I can give you anecdotes that are pretty vivid. Pregnant women who have to travel relocate hundreds of miles to be near a center where they can deliver their babies.
Like relocate for days, weeks?
For weeks, in anticipation of delivering a baby. I can quote some statistics, and for instance, the feeling is that it would take about 750 primary care providers, primary care physicians, to fill the gaps that we have in the rural setting. Anyway, so it's fairly severe.
And so the program is now, how many doctors do you anticipate, or how many people have gone through the program so far?
So I'd like to maybe tell you a little bit about the program. We have something called a Certificate of Distinction. Medical students can pick a track in medical school to get additional education in a rural setting. And we know that if we place our students in a rural setting and give them a significant amount of training in that rural setting, they are much more likely to come back and practice in that setting. So our drive in our program is really to get future doctors to settle in rural Arizona and practice medicine and meet the needs of the state.
And I guess it becomes as people go into the field, maybe they're thinking of working at the big hospital or becoming a heart surgeon or becoming something.
Oh, that's a really interesting point. I think there are a number of students who come in with certain ideals about going rural, working in a primary care setting, and in the past, and I think it's less so now, get swayed by the glamour of hospital work in an urban setting.
ER was not set in a small town.
No, it certainly was not. That's true.
Neither was Grey's Anatomy.
No. And so you're right. There are lifestyle issues. There's a glamour deficit, but what I feel and feel strongly about is that when students experience rural Arizona, which is spectacular, they will be enthralled by the lifestyle in rural Arizona and want to practice there. And I think we will see that. We're fairly early in the process. This is our second year in our Phoenix program. And we're seeing more and more interest from our student body to participate.
How many people have come through it at any level? I know you can do it for a year or do it for the entire 4 years, right? There are opportunities for students to do a simple 1 month experience in a rural setting, and the Certificate of Distinction students, those who've really committed and get something extra on their transcript for that extra effort, they will spend as long as 5 months, 6 months in a rural setting during their medical education. So how many students?
How many students? Yeah. I'm sorry. Our program is just, it's the birth of our program here in Phoenix, and we have a total of 5 students at this point, and looking to expand very rapidly.
But 5 students who are doing the entire 4 year?
Entire 4 year, yes.
Have you had a sprinkling of students who've gone just to see what a rural community is like in the 4th year?
And we have students, exactly, who are excited about going in their 4th year and their final year of medical school and checking out various sites that they would like to potentially return to. We are trying to develop opportunities for students, whatever their level of interest, if they want to commit to this 4-year program, or if they want to sample pieces of it and see if it's right for them.
Because it sounds like if someone samples it, it gets them on the road to thinking, maybe I will live in Safford or Nogales or Yuma.
I think that's true. I do think that's true. And I think it's true that there are students who come in with a conviction that they want to go back to their hometown, for instance, and maybe they are swayed in that other direction towards the glamour of the big tertiary hospital. And so this is a way for us to maintain that fire, I think, that rural fire, that fire to go back home and practice.
And I guess we can all relate it to our own industries and working in journalism. I know that if you work for a smaller newspaper, you probably do everything. And if you work for a bigger newspaper, the jobs are more segmented. I imagine the same thing would translate to a rural setting as a doctor.
I think you're absolutely right about that. And it's very satisfying, actually, for a certain breed of doctor to be able to do all that he or she was trained to do. You know, there's kind of a pruning process in the medical education world. You learn a lot of stuff in medical school and in residency. You learn a lot of techniques. You really learn how to take care of people in a very holistic way. And there's a process when you get out of practice, get out to practice on your own, of, you know, letting some skills go by the wayside. You don't use them so much. But in a rural setting, it's a prime opportunity to really take advantage of your full education and really help a community to its maximum.
Because we can think of in the city, it's like, well, there's my doctor, but he sends me to the ear guy, and there's the throat guy, and there's the foot guy. In a rural setting, you're the person, you're the doctor.
That is exactly right, yes.
So those who've gone in, do they come back with that happiness? Is that part of the reason of the satisfaction, is that they get to use all of their education?
Absolutely, that is one part of the satisfaction. I think there's, on many levels, there's satisfaction. You know, there's going back and taking care of the community where you grew up. For others, it's discovering the, you know, the fun of, you know, living near a rural community and being able to hike in the outdoors and experience beautiful Arizona. You know, there are multiple levels for that satisfaction to come into play.
The certificate, if you go 4 years, what other certificates could you get that aren't this? Like, what is that on par with as far as in the medical school world? So, you know, it's a competitive world out there. There's a lot of competition to get into medical school. There is, especially these days, a lot of competition to get into residency programs. These are where Sure.
medical students get their additional training.
So it's a way to differentiate you.
It is a way that a student could differentiate him or herself and become even a stronger candidate with this additional training, with this great rural training that we're offering.
And really get to experience giving medicine to a community that really needs it. You're respected in the town. I mean, it's
exactly.
the whole kit and caboodle.
I think there's also an element of respect that a small town offers a professional who's decided to stay there. And I think it needs to be experienced really for the students to believe it. They need to be out there and see really what it's like to practice.
And we'll try to get the Marcus Welby MD reruns back on the air to try to boost it.
We'll appreciate that.
Dr. Kamsonis, thanks for joining us tonight.
My pleasure.
To find out more information about what's on Horizonte, go to azpbs.org and click on the Horizonte tab at the top of the screen. There you can access many features to become a more informed Horizonte viewer. Watch interviews by clicking on the video button or by scrolling down to the bottom of the page for the most recent segments. Learn about more specific topics like arts and culture and immigration. You can also find out what's on Horizonte for the upcoming week. If you would like an RSS feed, a podcast, or you want to buy a video, that's all on our website too. Other features include our collection of website links and a special page for educators. While you're there, show your support for Horizonte with just one click. Discover all that's on Horizonte. Visit azpbs.org, Horizonte today. Here at Horizonte, we want to hear from you. If you have comments, story ideas, or questions, email us at horizonte@asu.edu.
Monday is Memorial Day, a day when we remember the people who died while serving in the armed forces. Honor House is an organization helping to transition veterans who are returning from combat. Joining me today to talk about Honor House is Brian Mancini, the president and founder of the Honor House. Thanks for joining us. And this is more than just a charity you've decided to start. This really stems from your personal story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you for having us, by the way. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this is kind of a byproduct of my military service. I served for just under 13 years. I was medically retired after being severely wounded in 2007, and had to retire out to the Phoenix VA. And there were some challenges there, as has had come to light across the media and national news. But instead of getting
your injuries were fairly severe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent 3 years and 8 months at Walter Reed getting my face rebuilt. My whole forehead is titanium. My orbital socket's been rebuilt. My palate's been blasted out. My cheekbone has been rebuilt from my hip. My sinuses have been rebuilt. And I have a number of musculoskeletal injuries and shrapnel all over my body.
And I guess in previous wars, you might be an anomaly. You might be one of the most severely wounded people we might see. But in this war, it seems like, I mean, you probably saw at Walter Reed, you're not alone in having severe injuries that you've recovered from.
Yeah, I mean, it's the evolution of war. We've had advancements in medicine and advancements in technology, which has allowed a lot of the guys and women to survive some of the injuries. We have body armor and up-armored vehicles now. A lot of the guys that would have been put into an expectant category from the Vietnam era are making it home today because of these advancements in medicine and technology. So we're here and we're in the community.
And so the challenges of coming back, because I mean, Walter Reed gets you physically back and you look great.
Thank you.
But now it's getting you back into society, getting you working, getting you mentally healed. How are we doing in that department as far as you're concerned?
You know, I think there's an evolutionary gap. I think we're learning some of that with the NFL and the football and the concussions. I think there's been some education that's been shined onto some of the issues with the head injuries. I think we can parlay that same understanding into the last 14 years of war. On two major battlefronts and two conflicts. The main weapon of choice being the IED, the improvised explosive device. And so a lot of our men and women are experiencing blast injuries when they're in theater, and then they're having to deal with the repercussions when they get out.
So your charity is built on helping veterans heal mentally in ways that you found productive yourself, right?
Yeah, mentally, emotionally, and physically. We really try to take the veteran as a whole, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and realize that there's been wounds from combat across all spectrums. And we really try to create a unique experience at the Honor House and Operation Healing Journey. We create customized healing calendars for veterans, utilizing the resources from within the community, from the nonprofit sector and the for-profit sector. And our emphasis is really making the veterans' home the center point of care and providing them alternatives that they may not normally be eligible for or be able to get through the VA.
What are some of those alternatives? And I think we're showing some photos of those now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, acupuncture, the massage therapy, the chiropractic care. Those are healthy pain management modalities that don't impair the cognitive function like the medications do. We also...
Yeah, in a VA, I mean, I think we've read some of the criticisms that there's a lot of pills being passed around on the VA. You're trying to get people to do yoga, Tai Chi, I mean, things that are other than taking a pill.
You know, our veterans only know what they're taught, and what we're trying to teach them is a different algorithm of being healthier for the long term. If we can introduce them to healthy pain management modalities, some meditative practices like yoga and Tai Chi and deep breathing exercises, outdoor recreational therapies and animal therapies, along with music and art. And we create a customized healing calendar for veterans, teaching them how to integrate things into their daily routine, their weekly routine, and their monthly routine to prevent some of these pain management, PTSD symptoms from getting out of whack. And when they do, when you do have a pain flare-up, or if you do have extra agitation and irritation from your day, you have something that's within a very close proximity of your home that you've identified that can help relieve that.
What worked for you? What was the first therapy that really clicked for you?
You know, I started writing early on, and that was a good way for me to express myself.
Riding a horse?
No, writing.
Oh, writing.
Yeah,
okay.
Writing. Actually writing poetry, combat poetry. I also was a big fan of fly fishing, and that got me out and into nature, and you know, really overwhelmed my senses in a positive way, which is kind of an opposite of combat.
Okay, so that worked for you, and then you discovered the other types of therapy just naturally?
Well, you know, being a medic, I kind of had an idea of the issues that I was suffering from, and I'm kind of a model of what this generation is really suffering from, and that's the traumatic brain injury, the post-traumatic stress, and then the pain management. And so what I just kind of went on a course with the knowledge that I had in medicine from being a medic, found healthy things to manage the pain, found in the community, found healthy things to manage the PTSD symptoms, and then integrated outdoor recreational therapies. I put a 45-page concept paper on the way ahead and started getting the medical community involved. We actually launched a 12-week PTSD program with a local behavioral health organization doing these therapies. Right. And that's called Advancing Heroes through Taros. And then we also launched the Operation Healing Journey, where we pick them up on the back end and we create a customized healing calendar right around their home.
And you're trying to, I guess the long-range plan is to actually create a house, and the information is available at thehonorhouse.org. And really, as we celebrate Memorial Day, you think there's a lot of veterans who would be people we memorialize that you're really trying to help now to suffer through this. I really appreciate you joining us this evening.
Thank you for having us.
And good luck to you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's our show for tonight. From all of us here at Horizonte and Channel 8, thank you for watching. I'm Richard Rellis. Have a great evening.
Funding for Horizonte is made possible by contributions by the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station.